place I'd rather be.
Hey, I'm Kenny Kusaka, and today we are going to be talking about the 2002 animated classic Lilo and Stitch.
Exploring specifically its usage of the native Hawaiian language, or Olelo Hawaii.
I'd argue that the Hawaiian language is severely under and misrepresented in Lilo and Stitch. It's used in the background to create atmosphere rather than as a tool to communicate.
And if I had one wish come true, I'd surf till the sun sets beyond the horizon.
In the 2002 animated classic Lilo and Stitch, Stitch the alien crash lands in Lilo and Nani's lives, and he causes so much destruction that Nani wants to kick him out of the house. Lilo fights for Stitch, shouting, "Ohana means family! Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten!" Nani agrees to let him stay, and by the end of the movie, all of the aliens end up making house in Hawaii, and audiences are left with the impression that Hawaiians are one big, happy, extended family that everyone and anyone are welcome to join at any time. The most important argument here is Lilo's plea to her sister. Ohana means family! However, when Lilo begs to keep Stitch, so far, Stitch has done nothing except destroy and ruin the sisters' chances at a normal life and contributes nothing to their efforts at restabilizing. Why should he be included in their Ohana? You wanna be in this? You wanna be famous? In real life history, Hawaiians practiced the idea of Ohana as an integrated network of beloved community members in a family that was not necessarily limited to blood relatives. However, inclusion in the family was not automatically secured by showing up. Members of the traditional Ohana were expected to be actively involved with the family dynamics and daily life and chores of the family. They were expected to help work and contribute to the gathering of family resources. There was also an implicit understanding of traditional island life that Ohana lasted forever. The island is remote and relatively small, and unless you leave, you're stuck with your family until you die. For tourists, it's a different story. The Ohana that they make on the island lasts as long as their vacation does. The problem to me is not how the movie defines Ohana, it's how the word is applied. There's nothing wrong with showing Hawaiians having the concept of an unconditionally loving family. The problem is teaching mainland audiences to expect to be included in that loving family simply by buying a plane ticket here for a week. The problem is promoting the expectation that Hawaiians give access to their unconditionally loving family freely and immediately. What's worse is that Nani is made to look ashamed and defeated at her sister's pulling of this Ohana trump card, like accepting violent strangers is some law of the land that she forgot. Her shoulders slump, she sighs out this big sigh. It's like, Nani, what are you doing? You're making great points. This is a destructive dog that just cost you a very important meeting with a social worker. I think she was well within her rights to want to evict Stitch without violating any cultural value of Ohana. The movie, and this quote in particular, became very popular, and 20 years after its release, Hawaiians are still seen in the global culture as accepting, welcoming, family-oriented, and happy to share their island home. Stitch represents the ultimate tourist fantasy that no matter how violent or traumatized you are, you can come to Hawaii and join someone else's Ohana. This is my opinion, but I think that the use of Hawaiian words, especially Ohana, were vital in perpetuating those stereotypes and that they can cause harm to Hawaiian people. I argue that the Hawaiian language is severely under and misrepresented in Lilo and Stitch. It's used in the background to create atmosphere rather than as a tool to communicate. As an important disclaimer, I'm not genetically Hawaiian. I'm a third-generation Hawaii resident and have studied the Hawaiian language and Hawaiian theater at the University of Hawaii. I'm not fluent, but I have a strong familiarity with the language, its sounds, and accompanying cultural aspects. Personally, almost nothing pisses me off more than hearing tourists proudly saying, "Aloha!" Like, why are you putting so many O's in the middle? Who told you to say it that way? Which non-Hawaiian cruise ship employee gave you permission? This is my own personal feeling, but if I don't speak or understand a foreign language, I'm not gonna try to go to that country and stylize it and make it my own by mispronouncing words. Like, I don't speak Spanish, so I'd never go to Mexico and make a whole song and dance out of the word gracias. Yet, many tourists traveling to Hawaii seem to have the impression that this is how the Hawaiian language should be spoken. In history, the white settlers who colonized Hawaii wanted tourists to visit the island as an additional source of financial and political power, so they advertised, often using simplified versions of the Hawaiian language to make it accessible to the average consumer. The language was repackaged and stripped of its nuance, with advertisers choosing to emphasize it as quaint and charming. In Lilo and Stitch, the Hawaiian language used qualifies as mock language, which Pono R. Suganuma at the University of Utah describes as inherently exaggerated and performative. Mock language does not linguistically qualify as an authentic code, but instead relies on familiar linguistic patterns that non-natives might know, which index stereotypes about specific ethno-linguistic groups. This type of language is racist because it focuses on features that uphold negative stereotypes of the group being mocked. It is not spoken as a dialogue or communication tool between characters. We never hear Hawaiian language spoken as a tool to communicate between native Hawaiians. It's given a one-word example of ohana, or aloha, or the occasional mahalos. These few words given as examples of the entire language also make the language seem simple and unsophisticated, mirroring and perpetuating popular negative stereotypes of Hawaiians from pre-colonial times dating back to the 1700s. The only other time that audiences hear the Hawaiian language in the movie is when it's used as lyrics in the very few Hawaiian songs on the soundtrack. The language is used as a soft background ambiance to establish a sense of mood. This all fits with Suganuma's description as performative and relying on familiar words that non-natives might know. In my life working in the tourism industry, I've met a lot of visitors to Hawaii who were surprised to learn Hawaiian was a real language and more than just being the words aloha and ohana. This mirrored and encouraged the racist treatment of native Hawaiians in American society. Like the language, the Hawaiian people were viewed as a packaged product for consumers. Silly, quaint, and not taken that seriously. Lisa Hicks writes that by the mid-20th century, a Hawaiian island fever was sweeping across the United States mainland. Music and romanticized films of Hawaii at this time, like Bird of Paradise, painted Hawaii as an exotic place and sparked a consumer appetite for all things Hawaiian. Popular bands in America began to use the Hawaiian language with no context or understanding. Per Hicks, Tin Pan Alley songwriters reduced the Hawaiian language to its lowest common denominator. The use and repetition of short syllabic sounds was understood by non-Hawaiians to be playful, primitive, and redolent of the exotic allure of the islands. By exaggerating the lilting cadence of the Hawaiian language and the sensuality of particular phrases, these songwriters transformed genuine Hawaiian terms like waikiki and wiki wiki into a mishmash of nonsensical lyrics and comic song titles.
Hey, yakahola hickey doo la, yakahola hickey doo. Oh, I don't care if you love the ladies far and near. You forget about them all if you could hear. Yakahola hickey doo la, yakahola hickey doo.
Lilo and Stitch is often guilty of this too. For example, here are some of the Hawaiian language lyrics taken from the popular song Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride.
Ah, viki viki mai lohi lohi, la la la, ika la hana hana, me ke kai ho e ni ka pua uni, hele hele mai kako e, Hawaiian roller coaster ride.
Words like wiki, la, and hana are all their own words and can stand by themselves. Their repetition creates the nonsensical mishmash effect that Hicks describes. This further casts the Hawaiian language and people as playful and nonsensical too. But the rest of the song still bangs, and I don't want to take anything away from it. I just wanted to point out how even in something that is so universally loved and generally accepted as culturally correct, like Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride, we can still see a lot of those influences and stereotypes from early colonization. This all matters because the Hawaiian language was recently considered a dying language. In the 1800s, the white settlers who colonized Hawaii outlawed the Hawaiian language along with many cultural customs, including hula. It was illegal to speak the language publicly, and you could be punished for doing so. Hawaiians' response to this was to go underground with their own culture and speak it privately in their own homes to keep it alive. Luckily, these laws banning the language were overturned by Hawaii's last king, David Kalakaua, nicknamed the Merry Monarch for his revitalization and love of the Hawaiian language and culture. There's even a famous documentary called Keepers of the Flame, which discusses the subject in great detail, paying homage to the three famous, iconic, badass aunties, whose names were Edith Kanakaole, Iolani Luhine, and Mary Kavena Pukui. They are greatly responsible for the survival of the Hawaiian language through their lives, thanks to the great efforts of many Hawaiian monarchs, citizens of the kingdom, and even institutions like Kamehameha schools, which provide foundational Hawaiian language courses, studies, research, and professionally competitive students. The Hawaiian language is now experiencing a renaissance, and there exist many native Hawaiian immersion schools that exclusively speak Olelo Hawaii, or the Hawaiian language. It is also offered across all public schools and universities in the state, and holds a great respect from many residents. The survival of the Hawaiian language shows the pride, ingenuity, and intelligence of its speakers, contradicting popular Western stereotypes that Hawaiians and their language were simple and unintelligent. In the face of overwhelming odds, Hawaiians persevered and grew stronger. According to Brickwood Galataria at Kawai Ola News, there were about 28,000 self-reported Hawaiian language speakers in the state in 2024. This showed a dramatic 48% increase from almost 18,000 people who self-reported in 2016. This makes Olelo Hawaii, or the Hawaiian language, the fastest growing non-English language in a largely multicultural Hawaii. You could argue that this movie also does some good things in regards to the Hawaiian language. To be honest, it was and still is very cool to hear the Hawaiian music swell in a major motion picture in that opening shot. Apparently, the actors in the original cast were also called to advise the scriptwriters and other actors with the pronunciation of certain words. And the kids that you hear singing in Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride are the kindergarten class of the aforementioned Kamehameha schools, who greatly helped revitalize the language. The voice actor of Nani, Tia Carrera, even reportedly called her grandmother in Hawaii to get her advice on the pronunciation of language for the movie. I just think it's equally important for that inclusion to be thoughtful and purposeful, rather than to perpetuate already existing stereotypes about Native Hawaiians, especially when coupled with Hawaii's history of violent colonization. Lilo and Stitch, the movie, went on to gross almost $300 million internationally. Meanwhile, Native Hawaiians continue to face systemic racism, judicial prejudice, homelessness, health issues, and violence. I'm not Native Hawaiian, and I think it's insulting to hear the catchphrase, "Ohana means no one gets left behind or forgotten," from the same government that has historically made countless Native Hawaiian Ohanas feel both left behind and forgotten. And there you have it. That is our exploration of Olelo Hawaii, or Native Hawaiian language, as it appears in Lilo and Stitch. Thank you for clicking on this video. Help me out by helping the algorithm do the thing. And please support Indigenous people, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.